Good morning, students. So I think after a long time, after completion of two chapters in second track, again I came, and up to previous classes, Chiru sir has taken, and sir completed two chapters in first track, and second track I have completed two chapters: dual nature of radiation and matter, and also atoms. Next chapter will start today, nuclei chapter. Nuclei. It is also one of the important chapter for PU, NEET, and also KCET. Important. I think you are safe and secure in homes because of Corona, I think. And also, instead of wasting time, I'm expecting you are preparing previous chapters. And the last two chapters, whatever I have completed, dual nature and also atoms, we conducted one test also. Through WhatsApp, we sent one unit test. I think all you have written the exam, and if you have any doubts in that test, so just post your doubts through WhatsApp, and we can clarify the doubts also. And in a few days or before end of this month, we will conduct one more unit test also in the first two chapters. That is electrostatic field and electric potential also, and better to prepare the chapters. And we are expecting you should be up to date. Instead of putting any pending, better to read and practice important points and also derivations. And after completion of the chapter, try to practice numericals. That's suggestible. And if for example academic year it takes some time, means we are also expecting some reduction of the syllabus. Already CBSE national level, they reduced 30% of the syllabus, and in the coming days we are also expecting for example August or September, if it takes to open the classes. And I think Karnataka also may take the decision to reduce 25 to 30% of the syllabus, but still official notification not given by Karnataka. But CBSE and ICSE already they announced 30% of the syllabus they are going to reduce. And whatever the chapters almost the same, but in the chapters some contents they deleted, and paper pattern everything CBSE they just a little bit modified. And in the coming days we are also expecting official notification from PU board also, and later we can intimate through WhatsApp, or maybe you also can go through PO website and you also can check also, I think. But the suggestible books means NCRT, the suggestible. PU board also, PU also same, we are following NCRT textbooks only. NCRT first track and second track, that is suggestible. Now in this class we'll start nuclei chapter. Nuclei. So in our regular syllabus it is chapter number 14. Regular syllabus chapter number 13 chapter. Next 14 semiconductor electronics, one of the important chapter. Next chapter, one of the important chapter. And last communication systems, one more chapter is there, 15th chapter, but last year only NCRT deleted that chapter. So if we completed a nuclei, then we can go for next semiconductor electronics. That's one of the important chapter. So nuclei also one of the important chapter. Earlier they have given 6 marks for this chapter for PU level. We can expect generally one 5 marks question or one numerical may be given, and one mark question may be also given. So from this chapter problems a little bit lengthy, easy problems, but calculations little bit lengthy because majority of the numericals you are using AMU, atomic mass unit, means 1.6605, like the after decimal point around 5-6 digits will be given generally. That's why the calculation appears to be lengthy, but problem simple and formula also simple, but the calculation little bit lengthy. So for PU level, one 5 marks question important, maybe theory or derivation. Derivation is maximum negligible in this chapter, major part theory only, and numerical important, one mark question. Okay, now after completion of dual nature of radiation and matter and also atoms, we came to know what is an atom, what is electron, what is the charge of electron, what is the composition of the atom, what are the particles inside the atom, and also Thomson model, Rutherford model, Bohr model. So different concepts we discussed in the last chapters. After completion of all these models, we have one conclusion. What is an atom means generally? One of the small part of, not smallest, one of the small part of the substance. And what is the composition of atom means? The central part of the atom or the core of the atom, where the total positive charge, almost all the mass of the atom concentrated, is called nucleus. And who discovered nucleus? Rutherford. From which experiment? Alpha ray scattering experiment. So generally, what is a nucleus? So nucleus means it is a central part of the atom. It is the core of the atom or the central part of the atom, where the total positive charge, 100% positive charge, will be located inside the nucleus. Almost all the mass of the atom, so nearly 99.9% of the mass of the atom also concentrated in the nucleus. But what about outside the nucleus? There are electrons. So some of the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. So this concept we learned in the last chapter also. So nucleus was first discovered by the scientist Rutherford. In 1911, Rutherford first discovered nucleus. And nucleus means it is the core of the atom. Nucleus is the core of the atom, where the total positive charge and almost all the mass of the atom located or concentrated. And it was first observed by or given by Rutherford. From which experiment? Alpha particle or alpha ray scattering experiment. From this experiment only he discovered. From alpha ray scattering experiment, Rutherford first discovered this one. But actually, who conducted alpha particle experiment? Geiser, Marsden. Under the guidance of the Rutherford, Geiser and Marsden both conducted alpha ray scattering experiment, and they sent alpha particles through closer to the nucleus. And some of the alpha particles are deviated from their path. So alpha particle actually having positive charge, but the central part of the atom also having a positive charge. Because of the like charges, they repel and alpha particles are scattered. So from this concept, he discovered the nucleus. So nucleus was discovered by Rutherford from alpha ray scattering experiment. That's important. And so in case inside the nucleus, what is the composition or what are the particles present? One more important, so atom having approximately size 10 to the power of minus 10 meter. So nearly equal to 1 angstrom. But size of the nucleus, it is inside the nucleus. So size of the nucleus is a very, very small comparing to atom. So if for example, atom is appears to be total classroom size. If take a small part of the piece of chalk and kept at the center of the classroom, so that we can assume as a nucleus. So nucleus is nearly 10,000 to 1 lakh times smaller than the size of the atom. So very, very small. And even we cannot look into the nucleus also. Even by using a powerful microscope, very difficult to look into the nucleus because it is a very small and negligible almost. So that's why up to, even though Rutherford discovered the nucleus concept around 1911, but up to few years, very difficult to achieve or to clear-cut idea about the nucleus also. So because even by using a powerful microscope, we cannot look into the nucleus. But fortunately, one advantage is there. So whenever nucleus excited, like atom, whenever the nucleus excited, so at the time of the de-excitation, so generally, or at the time of the excitation, nucleus emits alpha particles, beta particles, and also gamma rays. So these are the radiations emitted by the nucleus. Even though we cannot look into the nucleus, even though we cannot use the powerful microscope to observe the nucleus, by studying these rays, like the rays which are coming from the nucleus are alpha, beta, gamma rays. If you are able to study, if you are able to analyze those particles, we can understand what is present inside the nucleus, what is the size of the nucleus, what is the structure, what is the composition. Everything we can understand only by studying these rays. So that's why nucleus is a very small and almost a negligible size. Nearly it is a 10,000 to nucleus is nearly 10,000 or okay, right, 10 power 4. Nucleus is 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 5 times less than or smaller than size of atom. So if you compare with atom, nucleus is nearly 10,000 to 1 lakh times smaller. But how we can examine nucleus means only by studying. So nucleus can be understand by studying composition of the nucleus, and the structure of the nucleus can be studied or can be understood by studying particles emitted from nucleus or radiations emitted from nucleus. Particles or radiations, particles or radiations emitted from nucleus. So what kind of particles or radiations emitted means nothing but alpha, beta and gamma rays. So these are the rays or radiations emitted from nucleus. If you are able to study alpha, beta, gamma rays, what are their properties, what is their mass, size, velocity, everything, if you are able to study these rays, automatically we can understand what is a nucleus, what is the structure of the nucleus, what are the properties of the nucleus, and how it will be interacted, what type of energy it contains, everything we can understand by studying only these rays. That's important. Now, what is the composition of the nucleus? But generally, after discovery of the proton and also nothing but nucleus by Rutherford, so some of the scientists started. So what is the nucleus and how we can understand about the nucleus, they started also, remaining scientists. And at that time, so two models or hypotheses were proposed. One is called electron proton or proton electron hypothesis. To understand the nucleus, to structure of the nucleus, to understand one new hypothesis given, proton electron hypothesis. Proton electron hypothesis. And one more, proton neutron hypothesis. So two hypotheses they given. One is a proton electron and the second one is called as a proton neutron hypothesis. Proton neutron hypothesis. What is the purpose of these two models or hypothesis means generally in 1911 Rutherford discovered a nucleus. But at that time, even though we are using a powerful microscope, there we cannot look into the nucleus. Then scientists started to understand or to examine or to analyze the nucleus. At the time of analyzation, they proposed two models. One is a proton electron hypothesis, and these two models are useful to understand the structure of the nucleus. What first model saying means a proton electron hypothesis, what it is saying means if you take for example one atom, it is an atom, the central part of the atom we are calling as nucleus. So it is atom, and this central part can be called as nucleus. So here according to this model, protons, so means P I am writing as a proton, is inside the nucleus which is having a positive charge, and according to Rutherford, electrons are revolving around the nucleus like this. So according to Rutherford, only there are two particles. He doesn't introduce any new particle. So only electrons are revolving around the nucleus, protons are present inside the nucleus. But what this model saying means some of the electrons also inside the nucleus. So according to proton electron hypothesis, so there are some electrons inside the nucleus and some electrons outside the nucleus. For example, I am giving a chemical symbol of this element is equal to X. For example, carbon C, oxygen O, hydrogen H, helium He, same model. The symbol of this element is equal, for example, X, and I am writing here it is Z, which is called atomic number, and I am writing here A, which is equal to mass number. So according to this proton electron hypothesis, what they are saying, Z means we are calling generally number of electrons, correct? Number of electrons. Z means number of electrons which are revolving around the nucleus, number of electrons which are revolving outside the nucleus. But A is equal to what? A means according to this model, protons plus electrons, but actually electrons are not inside the nucleus. But this model they thought, but later it was not accepted. It is one of the failure model only. But according to this model, there are protons and electrons inside the nucleus. Correct, protons and electrons. So that can be represented by A, mass number, and Z is equal number of electrons outside the nucleus. Then inside, how many protons means we can take Z protons. So inside there are Z protons. Inside the nucleus there are Z number of protons, and also A minus Z number of electrons inside the nucleus. Observe carefully. But what about here? A minus Z means nothing but Z is not number of protons. So Z is also equal to number of electrons outside the nucleus you should take. So it is having Z electrons outside the nucleus. Z electrons revolving around the nucleus. So around the nucleus. So, but actually no need to remember or no need to practice for PU level. It is only introduction part complete I am saying. And it is what proton electron hypothesis saying means according to this model, in an atom, central part is called nucleus. Nucleus contains Z protons and also A minus Z electrons. Nucleus contains Z protons and A minus Z electrons. And Z electrons are revolving around the nucleus, outside the nucleus. So this concept given by proton electron model. So this proton electron model almost given nearly the correct charge and also nearly accurate mass, and but it failed. So for example, in the nucleus electron is present according to this model. So in this small space, whenever electron is present, the electron should have at least 100 mega electron volt energy. So according to this model, there are some electrons inside the nucleus. If electron is present in that small space, the energy of electron must be equal to 100 mega electron volt. So it must be having 100 mega electron volt electron. But at the time of experiment, scientists observed the beta particles which are emitted from the nucleus also nothing but electrons only, correct? And they observed what is the energy of electron. But actually the energy of electron is only 4 MeV. Actually, if electron is inside the nucleus, in that small space, electron should have 100 mega electron volt. But at the time of emission of beta particle, how much energy is there? Only 4 MeV. So that's why both are not matching. There is a lot of difference. So electrons should not present inside the nucleus, they thought. So that's one of the drawback. And the second one, in a Bohr's model already we know angular momentum. Electrons can only revolve around the nucleus in some orbits where the angular momentum is equal to nh by 2 pi, mvr equal nh by 2 pi. But here also, according to this model, they calculated value, experimental value, both are not matching. There is a lot of difference. That is also one of the drawback. One drawback, what we can say, if electron is inside the nucleus, the electron should have 100 mega electron volt energy. But if you calculate energy of beta particle, nothing but electron coming from the nucleus at the time of the disintegration, it is having only 4 MeV. So automatically electron should not present inside the nucleus. That is one drawback. Second one, the calculated value of the angular momentum of electrons inside the nucleus and also the experimental value, both are not good agreement. Both are also having a lot of difference. So because of this one, it is also one of the drawback. If electrons are revolving or electrons are present inside the nucleus, protons also present, we can calculate a magnetic momentum. So all the magnetic momentums also not matching. So because of these drawbacks, so proton electron model was discarded or rejected, not accepted. So that is one of the failure model. So after rejection of this model, next model was given by, next model is nothing but proton neutron hypothesis. So we can say what is a proton neutron hypothesis. So this first model discarded or nothing but rejected, not accepted. So second model we'll check. So second model is a proton neutron. To overcome the first model, drawbacks in the first model, the second model proton neutron hypothesis was given. So what it is saying? So inside there are no electrons, clear cut idea. That is there will be no electrons inside the nucleus. But after discovery of the nucleus by Rutherford around 1911, between 1911 and 1920, Rutherford only suggested. So there are some of the neutral particles inside the nucleus. Actually proton discovered by Rutherford only. But according to Rutherford, there is a proton inside the nucleus, clear. But he also assumed, not a clear-cut idea, he assumed along with the proton, there may be some neutral particle inside the nucleus. But at that time, there will be no powerful spectroscopes, no powerful microscopes. That's why they are unable to, Rutherford unable to find that particle. But around 20 years nearly later, James Chadwick, he discovered the neutron. So means one neutral particle present inside the nucleus, which is called a neutron. After discovery of neutron by James Chadwick, so we have one clear idea. So what is the present inside the nucleus and what is the present outside the nucleus, then we have an idea. So for example, the chemical symbol of this element is nothing but X. Z atomic number, A mass number. Now what does this letters indicates means Z is equal atomic number which represents number of protons. So in a nucleus there are Z protons. There are Z protons and also in the neutral condition Z electrons outside the nucleus. Z protons inside the nucleus and also Z electrons outside the nucleus. And how many neutrons inside the nucleus means A minus Z. But what does A represents? Protons plus neutrons. So protons plus neutrons equal to A and number of protons equal to Z and number of electrons outside the nucleus also equal to Z. That A minus Z equal to number of neutrons. So according to proton neutron hypothesis, what we can say, in a nucleus there are Z protons and A minus Z neutrons. In a nucleus there are Z number of protons. In a nucleus there are Z protons and also A minus Z neutrons. In a nucleus A minus Z neutrons and A represents nothing but protons plus neutrons, which are also called nucleons. Protons plus neutrons. So this concept given by proton neutron hypothesis. So according to proton neutron hypothesis, in a nucleus there are Z protons and A minus Z neutrons and protons plus neutrons equal to A total. And how many electrons outside the nucleus means also Z number of electrons. So Z electrons are outside the nucleus. Z electrons revolve around the nucleus. Z electrons revolve around the nucleus in neutral condition. And with this proton neutron model, almost the mass of the nucleus, charge of the nucleus, size of the nucleus, and also angular momentum, magnetic momentum, and spin quantum numbers, almost all are having a good agreement. That's why comparing to previous model, it is we can say one of the successful model. It is nothing but a proton neutron hypothesis. So it is about general introduction part of this one. Now what is a proton, what is a neutron? Generally after completion of this one, I'll give the proton and neutron composition. Generally what is a proton? Almost total chapter we have to discuss about the protons and neutrons. Protons and neutrons, major part. So what is a proton means? It is one of the fundamental particle or basic particle. Proton is one of the fundamental or basic particle. Nothing but it is a constituent of the nucleus. Inside the nucleus there is a proton. So proton is one of the basic or fundamental particle. It was first discovered by the scientist Rutherford. Rutherford only first discovered the proton. And proton has mass and also charge. So the mass of the proton is equal to 1.6726 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. 1.6726 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. That is the mass of the proton in kilograms. But generally in this chapter, masses we have to express in AMU, atomic mass unit. Later we'll discuss that one. AMU. It is equal to 1.6726 into 10 power minus 27 kg. That is the mass of the proton. Proton is also having a charge E. The charge of the proton equal to that of the electron in magnitude, but the sign will be opposite. So that means it is equal to plus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Exact value, right? 1.602 is there. For calculations, we can use 1.6 also, no problem. And if we divide both, what will get? S is equal to E by M. Nothing but charge by mass is called specific charge. So specific charge also there. If you divide 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 by 1.6726 into 10 to the power of minus 27, we'll get the value 9.6 into 10 to the power of 7 coulomb per kilograms. Or if you have calculator, you can divide this one. 1.6 divided by 1.67, 0.96 will get around 0.96 into, if you check 27 minus 19, 8 will get 8, and if you adjust one digit, you will get 9.6 into 10 to the power of 7 coulomb per kg. And proton having a charge means whenever a proton is moving through an electric field or magnetic field, forces are acting on the proton and also deflected. So proton was deflected by, or proton is deflected by electric field and a magnetic field. Proton is deflected by electric field. Whenever a proton is moving through an electric field, something electrostatic force acting on the proton, F is equal to EQ. When it is moving through a magnetic field, something a force acting on the proton. What is a magnetic force means we know already. F equal to BQV sin theta or BQV. Magnetic field. So these are the basic properties of a proton, and generally proton we can represent as a P, or nearly hydrogen atom. If you take it is equal to nearly mass of the proton, mass of the hydrogen atom, both are equal almost. So it is about proton. Similar way, what is a neutron? Neutron. It is also one of the basic or fundamental particle, which is a constituent of the nucleus, one of the basic particle or fundamental particle or elementary particle. But who discovered neutron? James Chadwick. So James Chadwick discovered the neutron with a simple experiment only. So there will be no need of a bigger experiment also. For this experiment we have to take only one radioactive nucleus like radium, polonium, or maybe uranium, plutonium, such type of one radioactive nucleus you have to take. So that a small sample of the radioactive nucleus is kept inside a lead block. For example, it is a lead block I am taking. It is a lead block, and which is having a small opening at the front part. I'll take here. So it is having a small opening will be taken here. What is the purpose of this opening means whenever if you release that opening, automatically the particles will come outside. Lead is one of the stable element which can stop the radioactive radiations. So it is a lead block. It is a lead block we can take, and it is a radioactive nucleus. Radioactive nucleus. So which can emit alpha particles, beta particles, and so on. Like it can emit. And here we are placing one lead sheet. The purpose of the lead sheet is only to stop all the radiations except a fine beam. Through this one only some of the radiations will go and the remaining all will be stopped. And later I am placing one a beryllium target. One a beryllium will be taken like this. it is a lead sheet or lead will take. It is a beryllium. Beryllium means Be with atomic number 4 and a mass number I will take 9. So beryllium taken, and later some paraffin wax through this one, and also one ionization chamber also I'll take like this. So ionization chamber which can collect the neutrons, and later we can identify how it will be. So it is a one ionization chamber. So these are the simple apparatus. So no need of a complicated apparatus. One simple apparatus only taken. First, whenever if you release this opening, what will be happen? So from this radioactive sample, alpha particles will come outside. So number of alpha particles are coming outside like this. But all the alpha particles will be stopped by this lead sheet. But only a fine beam of alpha particles are allowed. And these particles are coming and they collide with beryllium like this. It is nothing but alpha particle. Alpha particle means helium nucleus. Whenever this alpha particle collided with the beryllium, then one compound will be formed. Like what type of compound means, we can write simple equation. Write beryllium Be4 9 plus I am taking a helium, nothing but is equal to alpha particle means 2He4. Whenever beryllium target was bombarded with alpha particle, and we can write 9 plus 4 is equal to 13. Next 4 plus 2 equal to 6. So what is this one? Carbon. So first one carbon C6 13 will be formed, but within a few seconds this carbon, it is unstable element. So carbon 13 is unstable, and within a few seconds so this carbon C6 13 will be converted into a stable element C6 12. Now we have to balance this one. Check here, 6 here atomic number, here also 6, and 6 minus 6 equal to I write 0. Next, but here mass numbers 13 and here 12. So 13 minus 12 is equal to 1. Then we can write here 1. So mass number 1, but atomic number 0, and this can be named as neutron. So with this simple experiment, so James Chadwick discovered a neutron. But here neutron is one of the fundamental particle, and which is having a 0 charge. So the charge of the neutron is a 0, neutral. But it is having a mass almost equal to the mass of the proton. So neutron having a mass, and also it has no charge, no specific charge. And whenever it has no charge, whenever it is moving through electric or magnetic field, there will be no force acting on the neutron. That's why not deflected by electric and magnetic fields. So it is one of the simple experiment to discover neutron. But after discovery of the neutron, we have to understand who discovered neutron. Chadwick. From this simple experiment only neutron was discovered. And we can write a few points. What is the mass of the neutron? Mass of the neutron equal to 1.6749 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. Observe this too carefully. Mass of the proton 1.6726. Here mass of the neutron 1.6749. Except that the small values remaining almost both are equal, we can write. But what is the charge of the neutron? 0. Neutron is a neutral particle, chargeless particle. That's why its charge equal to 0. But what is the specific charge of the neutron? E by m. Here we can write clearly 0 by something equal to 0. So no specific charge. But here it is a neutral particle, not deflected by electric field and magnetic field. So neutron is not deflected by electric field and magnetic field. Not deflected by electric field and not deflected by magnetic field. But neutrons they are having a less ionization power, almost 0, no ionization power. But the protons are having a more ionization power. But the protons are having a less penetrating power, whereas the neutrons are having a more penetrating power. Because of less charge, they are having able to penetrate easily to the nucleus, and also they cannot change any chemical properties of the nucleus. So sometimes one time they asked in PU level, name the particles which we can add to the nucleus without change of chemical properties. Name the particles which we can add to the nucleus without change of chemical properties. Here atomic number is equal to 0. Whenever atomic number is equal to 0, it cannot change any chemical properties. So neutrons are the particles which we can add to the nucleus without change of the chemical properties. That's important. And one more, in case of the atom bombs or nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, so to explode that atom bombs, you are using nothing but neutron only. Whenever first if you trigger one neutron, the neutron can penetrate the nucleus and it also collide. It breaks the nucleus and again chain reaction will be started. Next, 1 neutron becomes 3, 3 becomes 9, 9 becomes GP ratio will be increased, and then rapidly the reaction will be going on generally. So it is about a proton and also neutron. So up to this one PU level, only 1 more question, simple questions only. So not introduction part, major part. So finally, after completion of this one, we have one idea. What are the particles inside the nucleus? Means there are protons and neutrons. What are the particles outside the nucleus? Means electrons. Clear? Now we can say what is the composition of, same only, what is the composition of nucleus? Composition of nucleus. Same up to whatever we discussed, again we refresh this one total. What is the composition of the nucleus? Means I'll take one atom here. It is the nucleus, central part of the atom. It is an atom. It is a nucleus of an atom. And what is the composition of the nucleus? Means inside the nucleus there are protons and also neutrons, but outside there are electrons. Outside the nucleus there are electrons like this, and I am giving a chemical symbol of this element. So chemical symbol of this element is equal to nothing but XZA. Chemical symbol of an element, I am taking a XZA. In this, Z is called atomic number and A is called mass number. Z is called atomic number, A is called mass number. So what does Z indicates? Z always represents number of protons. Z is equal always indicating a number of protons in a nucleus, which is called atomic number. What does atomic number always represents? Means it is equal to number of protons, nothing but atomic number. So in this chapter, wherever you identified the letter Z, that indicates a number of protons inside a nucleus. For example, carbon given. So carbon, chemical symbol here I have written X. X place I am writing C, carbon. And Z atomic number, Z place I write 6. So what does it mean? Carbon nucleus contains how many protons? 6 protons. Carbon nucleus contains 6 protons. That is simple. For example, oxygen given, chemical symbol O should write. And already here atomic number is equal to 8. What does 8 indicates here? Oxygen nucleus contains 8 protons. Carbon nucleus contains 6 protons. If XZA given, the element X contains Z protons inside the nucleus. Next, what does A represents? Number of nucleons. Number of nucleons. What does here nucleons means? Protons plus neutrons combined called nucleons. It is nothing but a protons plus neutrons. Number of nucleons which is equal to proton, number of protons plus number of neutrons. Both combinedly called number of nucleons. So which is also called mass number. That is also called atomic mass number. So in a nucleus there are Z protons and also A nucleons. If you subtract these two, what will get? A minus Z is nothing but equal to number of neutrons. If you subtract both, you will get a number of neutrons. A minus Z is equal to number of neutrons. Number of neutrons. A minus Z. And here in neutral condition means without addition or without subtraction of electrons. In neutral condition, I think in electrostatics already you learned. So when an atom is neutral, whenever number of electrons and number of protons both are equal in an atom is said to be neutral. For example, if take one iron metal, it contains equal number of protons, equal number of electrons. Both are equal means both will be charge cancelled. So it is a neutral. Until and unless we are removing some electrons or we are adding electrons, the charge may not be changed. So in neutral condition, here what does Z also represent means number of electrons. Number of electrons. So in this element, in this atom, inside the nucleus there are Z protons and also A minus Z neutrons, but outside the nucleus there are Z number of electrons. For example, I'll take example I'll give here. Carbon C612. In a carbon C612, how many protons, how many neutrons, how many electrons are there? So check here, number of protons in a carbon nucleus will be represented by Z, which is equal to 6. Carbon nucleus contain 6 protons, and the number of neutrons, how to find the number of neutrons? Formula A minus Z. So carbon contains a total 12 nucleons, protons plus neutrons, only proton 6. Then you have to subtract. That is called 12 minus 6, also equal to 6. So carbon nucleus contains 6 protons and 6 neutrons. But how many electrons? In neutral condition, what are the number of electrons? Symbol formula Z only. In neutral condition, number of electrons also formula Z. That's why it also contains 6 electrons. So that is called Z is equal to 6. So understand carefully. In a carbon, if you take atom, carbon nucleus contains 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and outside there are 6 electrons under neutral condition. But total number of nucleons 12. Number of nucleons equal 12. Same model, let me take one more example. Example 2, iron Fe, atomic number 26, mass number 56. Now try to write how many protons, how many neutrons, how many electrons in iron. So number of protons in iron nucleus, Z is equal to number of neutrons in iron nucleus, N equal to, in a neutral condition outside the nucleus, number of electrons outside, number of protons, number of neutrons, number of electrons. Try that one. Here number of protons means 26. Check here, number of protons equal total 26. Number of neutrons, if you want to find, formula A minus Z. So A is equal to 56 and Z is equal to 26. Subtract both. That is equal to 56 minus 26 equal to 30. So total 30 protons and also here 26 neutrons. But what about number of electrons outside the nucleus means also 26. Simple. And try one more example. So from this 2-3 examples we have one clear cut idea. What are the number of protons inside the nucleus? What are the number of electrons? What are the number of neutrons? Uranium with atomic number 92, mass number I'll give 235. Uranium 92, 235. With this try it. Number of protons inside the uranium nucleus. What are the number of protons? Z 92 na? In a uranium nucleus there are 92 protons. And also how many nucleons? Total 235 protons plus neutrons. Number of neutrons. N is equal to A minus Z. A 235 minus Z is equal to 92. That is equal to 143. So total number of neutrons equal 143 neutrons. But in neutral condition, outside the nucleus, what are the number of electrons? Number of electrons outside the nucleus equal Ze, which is equal to 92 only. That's important. For example, I'll give hydrogen 1H1. Correct? It is a 1H1. Check what are the number of protons, number of electrons, and the number of neutrons. In a hydrogen 1H1, it is very important. In a hydrogen 1H1, number of protons Zp is equal to 1. 1H1 means it is equal to 1. Next, number of neutrons. Number of neutrons N is equal to 1 minus 1 equal to 0. You have to understand carefully. So quite interesting thing. One and only nucleus or element without neutrons. Remaining all the elements are nucleus having neutrons except hydrogen. But hydrogen has no neutrons. But remaining elements may have the neutrons. And what are the number of electrons? Also 1. Under neutral condition, hydrogen contains 1 proton inside the nucleus, 1 electron outside the nucleus, but there will be no neutrons. So that's why in general we can give one statement. In nucleus generally except hydrogen in nuclei generally the number of protons and number of neutrons are almost equal in lighter nuclei like helium, neon or beryllium, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, the type of nuclei if you take, they are having a nearly equal number of protons and neutrons. If you are going a heavier side like uranium, plutonium, thorium or iron, nickel, cobalt, gold, copper, such type of elements, number of neutrons only more comparing to number of protons. Here clearly we can understand one thing. Check here, carbon, number of protons, number of neutrons both are equal. Whereas in iron, number of protons 26, but number of neutrons 30. Number of neutrons only more. But if you take uranium, number of protons only 92, but the number of neutrons 143. When the atomic number increasing, what will be happen? The number of neutrons also increases. But in hydrogen, there will be no neutrons. Sometimes question may be asked, give one and only nuclei or nucleus without neutrons. Hydrogen, simple, that's only. It is about the composition of the nucleus. And in this chapter, you should not be confused with 2-3 words. One is neutron. One is nucleon. Nucleons or nucleon. Nucleus. Nucleide. Check what is the difference among these 4 words. Neutron, nucleon, nucleus, nucleide. What is the difference? First one, neutron means it is a basic or fundamental particle which is present inside the nucleus. Correct? Neutron. Nucleon means it may be proton or neutron. Generally, nucleons means both a combination, protons plus neutrons. So nucleon means it may be proton or a neutron. We can consider generally. And next, what about a nucleus? So these are particles, but nucleus is not a particle. It is a central part of the atom. It is a core of the atom. Nucleus nothing but. But what is a nucleide? So different kinds of the nuclei or different kinds of the elements can be called as nucleides. Like for example, carbon nucleide, oxygen nucleide, or iron nucleide, helium nucleide. We can call generally types of the nucleides generally. And one more. These words you have to understand the difference. What is the difference among these words? And here in a nucleide, there will be same kind of atoms. In any nucleide or any nucleus, there are same number of, for example, same atoms are there in an element, in a substance. Then that can be called as element. What is the element means? Any nucleide having a same kind of atoms. Sorry. Any nucleide having a same kind of atoms can be called as a nucleide, element. For example, copper contains only copper atoms. It is nothing but element. if you take for example oxygen only contains oxygen atoms, so that's also element. Carbon contains only carbon atoms, also element. And helium contains only helium atoms, element. But if you take water H2O, but water contains same kind of atoms. Water H2O means it contains hydrogen atoms and also oxygen atoms, so that's not called element. So any nuclide are having a different kind of atoms, that can be called a compound. Element and also compound difference, so they're having a different kind of atoms. The nucleides having a different kind of atoms are called compounds. For example, carbon dioxide CO2, it contains a carbon and also oxygen. Water hydrogen and also nothing but oxygen. And ethyl alcohol C2H5OH. And also like a different compounds you can take. So there's a difference between the element and compound, and also these are 4 words you have to understand carefully, remember carefully. It is about the introduction part and composition of the nucleus. In next class we'll discuss what are the types of nuclei. What are the types of nuclei means like what are isotopes, what are